While tensions rise in this part of the world, China continues to fish for geopolitical influence in the Pacific. It is pushing for a new deal. China is asking small nations, small island nations, to sign a pre-written agreement. What does it say? This deal gives China the rights to fish in their waters. It gives China the right to set up a security force on their land. It also allows China to run the internet of these other countries. In simpler words, this is a deal that allows China to control other countries, their natural security, their national security, and their narrative, all of it. It's an ambitious plan, not to mention a sinister one. The man in charge of delivering it is China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi. He has been shipped to the Pacific. He's traveling to 7 countries. With him is a team of 20 people, and they're carrying copies of a pre-written deal. By the end of the trip, China aims to bring 10 Pacific Island nations on board. Countries that China is targeting: the Solomon Islands, Kiribati, Samoa, Fiji, Tonga, Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea, the Cook Islands, Niue, and Micronesia. And these are all Pacific Island nations. And China is turning their home into a theatre of conflict. Why is China doing this? For the obvious reasons, plus as a response to the Quad summit in Tokyo. Now, we told you what happened at the summit in Tokyo. India, Japan, the US, and Australia, among other things, launched a maritime surveillance system, a satellite-based system designed to check China's illegal fishing in this region and the rest of the world. So China is trying to counter that with a deal of its own. And you have to say they've wasted no time. China's pre-written deal has a proposal, a maritime spatial plan. Its scope is vast. It includes fisheries, the provision to train Pacific police officers, to set up cultural Confucius institutes, even send Chinese volunteers and influencers to these Pacific countries. As always, the deal is vaguely worded, leaving enough room for abuse. China is calling this deal the Common Development Vision. Common Development Vision, it's a 5-year plan. The question is, whose development is China talking about? The Pacific, it says.
China has long insisted on providing economic and technical assistance to the island countries with no political strings attached.
Well, you and I both know better. You see, these are not developed countries, the ones that China is targeting. What China is trying to do is lure them using its checkbook. It is promising assistance for climate change related problems. It is also promising to spend $2 million for sending medics to counter the Wuhan virus. There's also a promise for 200 medical personnel, 2,500 government scholarships, around 10 art troops. And all of this, I have to say, is a facade. This deal allows China to send troops to the Pacific Island nations, even set up a maritime base. Interestingly enough, the deal is written like a joint communique, meaning China has already assumed that the Pacific Island countries will accept it word by word and endorse it during the last lap of Wang Yi's tour. The minister is currently in the Solomon Islands. Over the next few days, he will visit at least 7 countries, also hold virtual meetings with foreign ministers of 3 other countries, and his last stop is Fiji. It's there in Fiji that China aims to publish this joint communique. Quad partner Australia is on alert because all of this is happening in Australia's backyard. Canberra has responded by sending its own foreign minister to Fiji.
We know that this has been in place for some time, the forward-leaning of China into the region. It was a topic of discussion amongst the leaders of the US, Japan, India and myself. And we need to respond to this. We know that this has been building for some time.
There's also resistance from within the region. Standing up to China is Micronesia, a small island nation of 150,000 people. Its president, David Panuelo, has written a letter to 21 Pacific leaders. He has warned that China is trying to, quote-unquote, acquire access and control of our region. Panuelo wants all Pacific Island countries to reject China's proposal. He says the deal allows the tapping of phones and emails. It also triggers a new Cold War. Beijing, of course, does not agree with any of this. It also denies knowledge of any such warning letter doing the rounds of the Pacific.
I don't have knowledge about the letter you mentioned, but I don't agree at all with the argument that cooperation between China and the South Pacific Island countries will trigger a new Cold War. The mutually beneficial cooperation between China and the island countries is based on equality and mutual benefit, and what it reaps are the win-win results.
Well, Pacific Islands should know better. China believes in the use of force, not equality. It thrives on debt traps, not mutual trust. A deal involving China is never a win-win. So it's in the interest of a safe Indo-Pacific that these island countries send Wang Yi back home empty-handed. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.